We're rolling?
We are rolling.
Rolling.
Rolling with our first guest, Joe Begley.
Hello, how's it going?
Joe Begley, I feel like we need to acknowledge the elephant in the room.
We did choose the same shirt today.
And it's a little bit more than that, isn't it? Because for everybody who doesn't know, Joe Begley's actually my neighbor. And he said to me the other day, he said, wouldn't it be funny if we were both matching on the podcast? And I said, Joe, no, that wouldn't be funny. And then this morning, as I'm getting changed, I remember hearing a noise outside my window, and I thought nothing of it. And then now I show up and you're in the same shirt as me. Did you?
I actually had to go to Goodwill to find this one so that we could match today, because I knew, I just had a feeling that you would be wearing it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I walked in and I saw it and I went, holy, this is spot on. I mean, we're both like, we're going a little bit baggier than usual. And I didn't know you were going to wear the jeans. I feel really dumb. I feel like I should have worn those too.
Yeah. People say that you've got bony knees. Do you want to acknowledge that?
Well, look, when we do our T1000 pod, we've started sitting behind a table. So I would wear pants because people didn't like to see my calves and legs because I wear very short shorts. And so I stopped doing that. I started wearing pants. And then once we got behind the table, I felt comfortable wearing shorts again. And in my head, I went, you know, my brain doesn't critically think. It just goes podcast happens behind table.
Yeah.
So shorts. And then I showed up and saw the stage all lit up and went, fuck, this is going to be, everyone's going to see my bony ass knees.
Men typically are pretty insecure of their legs, aren't they?
I'm very secure in my legs.
You are?
You've
got nice legs.
Thank you.
Woman-like legs. And I say that as a compliment because
Thank
I
you.
know you have feminine legs.
I have very feminine legs.
And you've tricked a couple of your friends, haven't you?
Yeah, I do have a joke that I like to do. I have a completely hairless ass, and I have very skinny legs, and so what I'll do is I lay on the bed and I poke my legs together and kind of stick my butt out. And I sent one to our good friend Spencer Cavins, and I stuck my butt out. I go, dude, I would never normally send you a video like this, but I gotta say, look at this girl's ass. Oh my God. And then I swing it around. I'm like, oh, dude, you guys are so gay. It's crazy. So it's fun to do, but yeah, I mean, it's sort of a joke on me too, because yeah, I do have a woman's ass. It's rough.
But we were just commenting on you. You might have a woman's ass, but you do have a man's haircut now.
I do. This was your decision.
I think that cutting your hair is the best thing that you've done for your physical appearance.
It has been incredible.
Imagine if a man said that to a woman.
Oh, brutal.
Oh God, that was just imagine if you looked at me and said that about. Well,
yeah, your hair is the best thing that you've ever.
I got a haircut too, though, and I actually.
It looks really good. I like it.
I think it's the best thing I've done for myself too. You know what I feel like when I cut my hair? It felt like I entered into a new evolution of my life. Like I was, like having long hair. I wanted to be hot. When you have long hair, you're like, I want to be hot. When I had short hair, I'm like, I'm ready to be a woman.
Yeah.
You know, I'm different now. I garden, I make soups, I puzzle.
There's like a haircut that I forget, but all the moms growing up kind of had it where it wasn't quite the lesbian haircut, but it was like just below the shoulders.
My mom had that.
With the wave, and you're like, dude, I miss that haircut on women. Like the 45-year-old, I got 2 kids, I drop them off at the pool cut. They either try to grow it out or they go like with the full, like, I don't know, like lesbian haircut. It looked so good. It was like a badass, iconic cut, and they all just got rid of it. You know, the 90s mom cut, we got to bring it back.
I actually think when I like go shopping now, I really, really shop for the 90s. Specifically, I'm like, I think the hottest look is like the Veronica Vaughn from Billy Madison.
Ooh, yeah.
That's one hot piece of ass.
I'm into that.
Yeah, like I want like kind of like a hot school teacher where it's like you're not being a slutty school girl. You're like wearing like kind of like a calf length dress.
Yeah.
Or you know like, you know what I'm saying? Like,
no, I know exactly what you're saying.
Like a little modest, but a little like what she got under there.
Dude, I kind of started picking my shorts based on like Bobby Kennedy Jr. photos from the 90s.
Great.
Where he had like these purple shorts that were like rising really high. I'm like, oh, those are fucking Sweet, dude. I got to get some of those.
So you're going higher with the shorts.
Going higher for sure. Got a lot of leg to show
Yeah.
off. I mean, today I'm kind of regretting it. But I could go with a
proud
little
of these
capris.
legs, yeah.
I'm like, I this is not intentional, but like if I, dude, when I see it's this bone right here that I see where it's like you can see the bone. I don't like that. But
you, if we were on an island, I wouldn't want to eat you first.
yeah, it'd be rough.
Yeah, you would be a disgusting meal.
That'd be disgusting. Yeah.
Real snack though.
Dean would
for
be
the
delicious.
ladies. Yeah, I'd want to
Yeah.
put. I'd want to. I want to put Dean on a stick. and
Dean
put
would be
him
like
over a
wild
fire.
game though. You know,
Yeah.
where
Yeah, where you're like, it's really fleshy.
he's been eating a lot of blueberries. You can tell. You
Ah.
know. Yeah.
Dean's a handsome boy.
He is a good-looking kid.
I was looking at the gay paintball video of you guys, and I was like, God, what a good-looking group of friends that you all are.
Good-looking
When you
kids.
guys go out, and this includes the extended part of our friend group, and I watch the boys being boys. I'm like, what a bunch of handsome fellas.
Oh, thank you.
Which actually, it brings me to my first question of the afternoon. Mm-hmm. So you run a dating show.
I do run a dating show.
You wanna tell us about what that dating show is?
Okay, hell yeah. I just saw something on Reddit today that I think is a really like kind of good indicator of where things are going. Whitney Wolf, who's the CEO of Bumble, announced today that they are kind of doing away with swiping on Bumble. So it's not going to be left and right anymore. What it actually is it's going to be, they haven't officially announced it, but what it looks like is it's going towards like AI-based dating, where they're going to come up with a profile of you, and then there's a profile of somebody else, and then based on your height, weight, physical attributes, how well you're rated out of 10, because the algorithm knows what you are out of 10.
Whoa.
Based on how many people have swiped left and right, it's going to find a partner that's a good match for you based on AI characteristics. So do you have the same value system? Are you in the same ballpark financially? And it's going to try to come up with people that it thinks would work for you based on that, and it's just going to pair you up. There's no more left and right swiping.
Wow.
I think just when you thought like the swipe left, swipe right culture like couldn't get any worse, I think this is like the natural kind of progression of it. Things are rough on dating apps right now. It's 60-40 guys to girls. So even if every woman on the app were to go on there and say, hey, I'm going to pick somebody and shack up with them, you still have a third of the guys on the app who are going to end up being forced incels. It's not great. And so what I've kind of found is we have all these girls that come out to the shows, and I've been talking to them, in between contestants and stuff. And I've been asking them, I'm like, they're all like very attractive girls. I'm like, how many of you guys are getting talked to by guys when you go out? And it's none. It's men don't talk to women. They don't approach them in public. And I think like this AI direction that it's going with dating in particular is really like it's some doomsday shit. I mean,
You think it's bad?
I think it's really bad. I think what it's going to be is it's going to line you up with the person that like society would kind of want to put you with. Somebody from, if you're upper middle class, it'll put an upper middle class 8, you're with another upper middle class 8, right? I think there's couples that surprise you that are like super happy together. I think there's people where they went to high school together and they were both the cool kids that end up together, and that's great. And then there's some people where it's like, you wouldn't really see them together. Like one's kind of nerdy and then one is like, in a hardcore metal band, but they're in love,
But that's almost relationships that you find in the wild. Because here's the other thing about dating apps.
Exactly.
Is that I do think that there's something to be said about the swiping culture in the sense of like, we are not meant as humans to have this many options.
Exactly.
Not only on dating apps, but even on social media. There are so many people to compare yourself to and your partner to in the people that you're pursuing. I do think in a way it's like, I'm not saying that I agree with them moving into the AI world of dating, because there's something that seems like to have somebody being able to just like judge you and what you're looking for.
Yeah.
I do think that like a program doing that, I'm not sure if that's the way. But I'm not saying it's also not the way, because I do think that people are like, you do have these guys and girls that are like, oh, I'm going for the 10.
Yeah.
And they're missing out on all of these
Missing
great
everybody,
people
yeah.
because of physical appearances and the illusion of choice. And it's like, I don't think that we should actually have that much choice when
No,
it
you
comes to
shouldn't.
dating. It's like unnatural, I truly think.
Yeah, I hate to like distill dating down to like something like as simple as yogurt, but there is like a study that was out where there was a brand that was selling yogurts at a grocery store, and they had a free sample desk up front. And when people would walk in, they'd give them a choice of 3 flavors of yogurt. And everybody came in, they'd try the 3 flavors of yogurt, and they go, "Ooh, I like the blueberry one the best." And then they'd go buy the blueberry. And then the people that ran the yogurt thing went, "Oh, so options kind of make people want to buy. So let's try 12 different flavors of yogurt when they got in." And when everybody walked into the grocery store, they saw the 12 different flavors of yogurt, and pretty much without exception, everyone just got overwhelmed and then just left.
Yeah.
Because they couldn't handle the fact that I haven't tried the orange. You know, I'm like eating the pear yogurt and I tried the lime, but like, what about the blueberry or the orange? And it's kind of like a metaphor for exactly what's going on, which is like you meet somebody in person, but you know that there's that girl that DM'd you on Instagram, and you know that there's like those matches on Hinge that you haven't checked out yet. And it's like, to your point too, with like the swiping, it's like, it does instill a thing, and porn does the same thing, where you're saying no and you're rejecting people that you've never even met before when you never really had the power to say no to that person in the first place. So like it instills this like completely false power in you, and it gives you too many options, so you end up freaking out and being Joe Begley, 32-year-old Peter Pan in Austin, Texas.
Yeah.
It's just the way that it goes.
Only dating kids, right?
No, not what I meant. But yeah, it's too many options. People are freaking out. So the number one thing that I just like try to instill in the dating show is like, just go talk to people. And I don't think it's like a matter of becoming a like pickup artist. What I always tell everyone is just like, just be the person that talks to everyone when you go out. Get to know the bartender, talk to the person that like, I don't know, like if you go to a place that valet parks the car, talk to everyone. Talk to the person that valet parks the car. Talk to the person like just that you have no interest in. Get to know everyone, and then you're never really approaching anyone. You're just kind of the person that talks to everyone, and I feel like that's kind of what we need to go back to.
Yeah.
You know?
I totally agree. And actually the yogurt thing is actually, it's a really great analogy. They say the same thing actually with like kids and toys, is like when you give them too many choices, it actually it's better for their IQ and their development.
Whoa.
The less amount of toys that you give them to play with, because they're able to invest in the toys in front of them. Whereas if you give them too many, they easily get distracted. They're hopping from toy to toy. And I even thought about like me at an ice cream shop when you were saying the yogurt thing. Like
Yeah.
I'm a Jenny's ice cream girl.
Jenny's
over Amy's. And
Jenny's, wait, if we're driving south on Congress, is Jenny's on the right or
Jenny's
the left?
is on the right.
I like the one on the right.
Yeah.
I'm with you.
And I go in there and they'll give you the options to taste all of these ice creams. And I might taste a couple. I go back and I order the same thing that I get every time.
Oh yeah, dude.
You know, it's like when there's too many choices, though, it holds up the line, quite literally and metaphorically.
Yeah.
And I don't like when you even look at like social media right now and dating, it's like that's only been a thing. One, the dating apps from maybe like 20 years, Match.com kind of came around, you'd say. But even before that, it's like the people that you had to date from before apps, and even then before the internet, were just the people in your immediate community.
100%,
You just
yeah.
married the woman that you met or the man that you met because you loved them. You powered through the relationship with them, the good times, the bad times. And it's like, granted, you know, the option to kind of put yourself out there more is great inherently, but then when you have too many choices, it's like, at what point does it stunt you?
Kills you.
You mentioned porn. Do you still watch porn?
No, so I'm trying not to. So I've never really like had a problem with it, but I have gotten to the point where you're like, I find that if I'm watching it like semi-regularly, it does kind of dull your lust for life. Really pulls it back. So I have an agreement with my friend right now. We're doing 3 different things. So for me, it's nicotine, porn, and then I have to make a video every day. And for him, it's alcohol, porn, and then he has to work out 3 days a week. And he's more well off than me. So if I miss,
financially. I
Yeah.
presume.
So if I miss, I have to Venmo him $100, and I have to donate $50 to the Hillary Clinton Foundation. If he misses, he
Because
has
you're
to.
against Hillary Clinton.
I just am against the Clinton Foundation.
Okay.
But if he misses, he has to Venmo me $100, and he has to send $500 to the Hillary Clinton Foundation. And
Please stay on your goals.
yeah.
The public, all of America is begging you to stop watching porn and to start posting more content.
Yeah, so I'm like doing it where I'm like, fuck, like last night at like 11 p.m. I gotta make this video. But I mean, I think porn, it is like, it does raise your bar where it's like, dude, it's hard to watch the hottest people on the planet fuck and then go date a normal person.
I totally agree. I actually think that it's great that you are cutting back on watching porn. I do think that, I acknowledge that for most people it's hard for them to completely stop ever, but I do think that being aware of the amount of porn that you're watching is really important for men and women. I also think it's super unusual that like, we as a society have just accepted that it's okay that like 12-year-old boys should be watching porn.
Yeah.
Like, because it's like now we're all looking around like, wow, why do so many people have fetishes? Why are so many people into weird kinks? Why are they sex addicts, whatever else? It's like, yeah, because when you start putting an endless amount of sex and intercourse in front of a 12-year-old boy that's developing, it's going to increasingly get deeper and deeper into the world of it, you know?
Oh, yeah.
You're jacking off to one thing, and then you see a weird erotic thing on the side that catches your glance right when you're about to come, and then now all of a sudden you're coming to that, and you're like, wait, do I like that? So then you click on that video, and then the next video, and then the next video, and it's like now you're in this dark hole. And it's like, I think it's weird that we have normalized porn for children. And I think it's only natural that as you become older, you start to look at these like habits that you've created and you're like, is this serving me in the right way? I'll speak for myself. Like I used to watch porn and now I don't watch porn. And I actually stopped it a couple of years ago in my last relationship because I felt very unpresent in the bedroom.
Yeah. It'll make you, if you're watching, it's hard. If you just watch porn every night for 2 weeks straight and then fuck someone, you're like,
you're thinking of that when you're trying to get to the orgasm quicker. You'll go to the thing that's already like made you come. So even like I was in a relationship and like I've gone through an era of my life where I was seeing both men and women, and now I'm with a man, and
queen.
Woo. And now I just focus on men. But when I was going back and forth, I would watch female girl on girl porn. But then I was dating a guy. And whenever I was with that guy, I would think to the girl on girl porn. And I was like, I'm not even like with my partner in this moment. When I stopped watching porn, I stopped thinking about it. Now in my current relationship, I don't think about anybody or anything except for my partner in the bedroom. I mean, I'm extremely more present.
Yeah.
And I do think that was the effect of like not watching it, you know?
I couldn't agree more. I mean, a friend of ours, Greg Phelps, told me that he thinks his solution to like fixing the porn problem is just everything's just got to be in print, you know?
Oh, like books?
Yeah. So like,
read to ejaculate.
which is so funny because it's like if you, I feel like a lot of fetishes are just born from the suggested video categories on the side, you know? Where you're like, oh, threesome videos.
That's what I'm so
Nice.
when I still watched porn, I would watch porn for women. There was this site called, it was like Belisa or something like that. And it was porn for women by women. Because whenever I would try to use like the standard websites, you would see, you're like, is that a fucking child? Is that...
It's crazy.
Is that woman okay? You're like, it was like disgusting. And that's the whole thing about like the porn industry in general is it's just... it's hard for me to get behind. I know it's like anybody's choice to their body and what they want to do, but it's like, there's just something about it that I'm like, I don't inherently agree with, but how am I but then I support it, you know?
Yeah, James Fishback, who's like a very conservative Republican, he's running for governor in Florida, but he's, one thing that I like, he's an extreme environmentalist. He really cares about the environment. He thinks what's going on to the Okeechobee and all this and the Everglades is horrible. But total tangent, he proposed a 50% tax on OnlyFans creators and OnlyFans subscribers too. And I think it's just like, it's a great thing, because it's one thing that really bothered me, and Spencer has a great bit about, logging onto porn websites because you live in Texas.
Yeah.
I do think there's definitely like some First Amendment issues when you make somebody present an ID to get on a porn website. With that said, I wasn't really crazy about Pornhub coming out and going, hey, you having to show an ID to get on this website is a First Amendment issue, stand with the First Amendment. And then the second that I get on there, the first video I click on, the ad is for AI porn. Don't get on your fucking moral high ground with me if you're going to come through and show me this perfectly created woman that, by the way, you created by looking at hot women that you found on Instagram. There's a lawsuit right now of women whose likeness was used to create this stuff. And it's like, it's fucking disgusting. I mean,
I've had somebody send me a photo of myself that they used to remove my clothes via DMs online.
What?
Yeah, you can just upload a photo of anybody and be like, and dress them down. That's like the whole thing on what is the Twitter Grok? Gronk? Yeah. Is it with an N or is it Grok or Gronk?
I think Gronk's the football player. That's funny.
Grok, because Gronk is the football player. That's like the whole thing with Grok, is that they were like, yeah, this is like being, like, you can go into Grok and be like, hey, take the clothes off of this photo, and they will. Yeah,
it's insane. I mean, like, my ex had nudes of her leaked in high school, and it, like, fucked her up forever. You know what I mean? Like, and
it's such an invasion of like your personal.
And yeah, I remember telling her about exactly that. I was like, I saw an ad for this where like you can like upload someone's face and just like make a porn avatar out of them, and she was like fucked up. Like she like had a breakdown about it. And I'm like, rightfully so. I mean,
well, we're also looking at this from the perspective of just assuming people are doing it to adults.
Yeah, for sure.
You know what I mean? It's like, actually, Bill Gates said this about like when the internet was first coming about. He was like, the whole point of the internet was to connect like-minded people and find mutual interest and whatnot.
Yeah.
And he's like, yeah, but you know what it also does? I'm not a Bill Gates fan either, but this is it's a valid quote that he said.
Yeah.
But he said, but you know what it also does? It also connects the sick people of the world.
Yeah.
The pedophiles, the black market, all of these things. And it's like, yeah, like for everything that AI might be able to be used to benefit us, there is the direct end of how it can like equally hurt us. So it's like, yeah, it's a problem that people are undressing adults. What about the people that are undressing children? Like, that's so fucked up.
Yeah, it's fucked. Yeah, anyway, I prefer the grape yogurt, I think. I like that one the
best. I'm a blueberry girl. Yeah. I like blueberry, raspberry, most
Greek?
flavored. Greek, yes.
Hell yeah, dude.
All right. I have my next question for you, Joe.
Okay.
Joe Begley. You're a musical guy.
Mm-hmm.
What genre do you relate to the most in music?
I mean, I think like I think Coltrane said that like if it sounds good, it is good, which has always sort of been like a philosophy that I like kind of try to like abide by. If I hear something and I like it, it doesn't matter if it's fucking Benson Boone. I'm like, that's good music, and I like it. I think there's like sort of two sides to that coin. Like if you ever watch like some of the old David Foster Wallace interviews, he talks about like this guy that wrote like The Lobster and Infinite Jest. He talks about like basically people watching too much TV and them needing everything broken down to the basics. And he talks about like really like complex music and how like there's some things that you need to just like sit with to understand. So there's some stuff where like I listened to the album Ladies and Gentlemen We're Floating in Space by Spiritualized 3 days ago. And I didn't like it, but I'm like, you know what? I also saw them perform across the street too. But it's really like a game of like, okay, I didn't like it, but it's complicated and you need to like sit with it and you can't write it off, you know? That's not the question that you asked. I'll tell you the concerts that have made me cry since I've moved to Austin, Texas. Willie Nelson, Sturgill Simpson, Blink-182. When they played the montage at the end, I was sobbing. Always. I don't know. I feel like, if you can get that kind of reaction out of someone, there's something there. And I, like the Willie one was like uncontrollable sobbing. I remember I'd had a little bit of mushrooms for sure too, and it was the 4th of July, but we had these tickets in the back, and I ran into this guy, and we kind of like snuck up front. We were like second row, and it was like immediately post-pandemic, right? And Willie had all this merch printed out where, you know, instead of like never forget, it was like forget, forgive, move on. And it's this just 90-year-old icon up there with like his kids playing music with his kids, still crushing, playing Trigger, the guitar that he's played so much that it has a hole in it. And I sobbed through the entire set.
Wow.
And I cried on the train home. I could not stop crying. I was like, I don't know, anything that can like evoke that kind of reaction out of you, I'm here for it.
Yeah.
So it's been everything that's made me kind of feel that way.
Do you think that there's certain music that is more timeless than others? Like, for example, like with clothing, they say, you know, I always try to follow style, not trends. Mm-hmm. Do you feel that applies to music?
Yeah, I mean, like, I feel like the reason the 60s rock was so good is it all comes down to like external factors too. Like, the real reason like the 60s, okay, so people like to shit on boomers, and I think in a lot of cases rightfully so, but when you look at like the Beatles and the Rolling Stones and Led Zeppelin and Pink Floyd, these are all boomers. And the reason they made the music that they did is because imagine the generational disconnect of what being a boomer actually is. Your parents fought in fucking World War II. Your mom rationed food so that you can survive, and your daddy went to war against the fucking Nazis. And you're a pussy with a guitar.
And came home with probably extreme PTSD.
Yeah.
That was probably not a very easy house.
I mean, so the generational divide between you and your parents is huge. And then all of a sudden, another external factor happens. The United States couldn't sell the black blues musicians in the U.S., so they started shipping these LPs to England. And they landed there. And that's where the line "I'm white, but my daddy was black" from the Who came from, is because they were raised by these albums. They were raised listening to these blues musicians in the United States, and I think it's like there's a reason that music kind of stands out. These guys were so bored. We've lost boredom completely. They're bored. They're listening to these things. They're just playing the guitar. Jimi Hendrix never left the guitar by him. Never let it go away from him. He had it in his hand constantly.
I've never thought about that of like nowadays there's so many things that beg for your attention. Our phones, TVs, movies. Back then it's like when you were like creating music and these people, they like revolutionized the music industry. It's because that's all they really had.
That's all they had.
Yeah.
And I mean, just think about like if the Beatles were, watch like the Disney documentary where they make Let It Be for the Beatles. I mean, they're sitting in this room together for hours and hours and hours. And like, imagine if the moment right before Paul goes to play Hey Jude, he like watches a fucking Instagram reel.
Yeah.
You know, it's over. So I do think there's stuff that's like more timeless than others. There's a reason like Beethoven and Bach and all this stuff stands up. You listen to the classical music, it's incredible. As you know, I'm very hardcore about the jazz.
Because you know, having this conversation even right now, I've never really thought about it before. Because I'm very interested in like jazz and blues. That's been like a big thing that's come back in my listening history over the past like year or so. And it's interesting because I'm sitting here thinking about like that what I said initially of like is music trend based or is it stylistic based? And there's things that have always kind of remained classics, but I feel like it really does go in and out almost like trends do. Like how we had classical, then we had folk, and then we had jazz and blues and rock and rap and pop. And it's like there's not a lot that has just stayed.
Well, there's like some of it did. So the thing that I love about Miles Davis in particular is like he has made some of the best just straightforward this is jazz records, right? But while all these other guys were kind of going, oh, these rock and roll heads, he's in the Village hanging out with Iggy Pop and David Bowie, and it leads him to make like In a Silent Way and Bitches Brew. And he's a guy that just like did not get bucked off the horse when the new trends came.
Yeah.
He was rocking out into his 80s. He's a fucking savage. I mean, I sent you that clip of him at the music competition where he's just like eviscerating these kids.
Yeah, oh,
Kids
yeah,
that
yeah.
have come, where they're like, what did you think of his trumpet playing? He goes, he knows how he sounds. You're like, he's a fucking animal, but he knows what he likes and he stayed with it, right?
Yeah.
So like, the thing is, again, like, you take all like those forces that like led to the Beatles like that. On top of that, like the LPs are getting shipped in, generational disconnect with your parents, right? But then they're like the strip club band where they play 10,000 hours before they even get there, so they become so hardcore, perfect. And then you listen to like the difference between 1964 and 1966. When the acid hits, it's like immediate. They go from like love, love me, do to turn off your mind, relax, and float downstream. It is not dying. Like they're fucking gone. Like they've blasted off into a different dimension.
Do you think that was good, or
The best thing that's ever happened in music, period.
was drugs, acid, shrooms?
100%. Yeah, I mean, like those guys, when they went to India and started getting obsessed with it, it was really cool. I mean, it was a huge wave that hit everybody, right? Like the invention of the Apple computer came from that too. Steve Jobs was a guy that was obsessed with technology that would go to India and drop acid, and it like led to him being really hardcore about the design of the computers. So I think there's like we're in a weird place musically because it's all, I don't know how to feel about it. There's more people making six figures off of streaming services than there were artists stocked in the average FYE in 1999.
Yeah, because I'm
Yeah.
sorry.
No, go ahead, please.
I was gonna say you've also. I was listening to like jazz playlists just when I would wake up, drink my coffee, and there's sometimes I listen to specifically like Etta James, Billie Holiday, like, and then go based off radio stations of them. But then sometimes I would just put on jazz in the background, and you're the one who brought to my attention that it's just a bunch of like AI musicians.
Brutal.
And I had no idea that's even what I was like contributing to when I was listening to it.
And they're not even trying to fight it on Spotify. Spotify's like intentionally trying to dress up the band so they seem more believable.
Well, now
like, remember with the one where they put trio in the name? So
Yeah.
You're like, well, there's three of them. They can't
Yeah.
be.
So backstory on that is Joe was calling me out, and I was like, "There's no way. These are all real people." And like, look, it's listed as a trio, and then we would look it up, and it was just like never existed.
Never. Brutal.
Well, Spotify actually just came out with a feature where you can use AI to like curate a playlist. It just came up on my phone yesterday, and I actually used that to create a jazz playlist. I was like, morning, chiller vibes, no AI, only real artist, and it did adhere to that when it created the playlist for me. So I was actually glad that I was able to find the type of music that I was looking for, but while also still supporting actual artists.
No, that rules.
Yeah.
And I think that's like a lot of people that I am friends with that are like deep in the music, they're not crazy about like the Spotify recommended stuff, but I'm like, dude, there's so many bands that I would have never fucking found and gone seen if I wasn't on Spotify. I would have
Bands
never
that I've gone to live because I found
100%.
them.
You gonna go buy that fucking CD
No.
on a recommendation? No.
There's an artist, his name is Baby Jake. He's very talented. He does a lot more of like bringing back that like kind of classic rock into his music that I found as a recommendation on Spotify, and then like I went and I saw him live, and I saw him here in Austin, and I like actually got to know him as a musician, and I would have never even had those other experiences if it hadn't been for the recommended artists.
You might have not even had the option to buy the CD because the record label may have been, no, we're not doing it. No.
Yeah. Yeah. I actually, so I've heard that you have an interesting take on the downfall of rap. Why do you think that is?
Do I? Fuck, I don't know. I don't have a take on the downfall of rap. I think it's interesting that the most streamed rap album last year was Graduation by Kanye West.
Yeah.
I think it's a sign that things are not holding up as well, that people are kind of like leaning into nostalgia. Like that would happen with like rock and roll and stuff where, you know, like the best rock music for me is
it true? I don't know if you know this or not, but I'm pretty sure I read that pretty recently, it was the first time that a rap song wasn't on the Billboard's Top 100 list.
Yeah, it's
Does
crazy.
that sound familiar to you?
Yeah. So I can't remember if it was the 40 or the 100, but yeah, there's no rap in there.
Also, just the two whitest people in their striped shirts, in their baby blue striped shirts, being like, so what happened to rap?
I got some takes on rap music, dude. I mean, if you look at where, like, what's kind of trending on Spotify right now, it's like the most streamed artists are like, I think it's like The Weeknd's #1, and then country's really on a massive pickup. One of the things that's going big with country is it speaks to an identity.
Also, like, I've noticed like that Ella Langley.
Yeah.
Like, I'm seeing like artists that are, it's always interesting when you start to hear somebody's name a lot and like see their photos and you're like, oh, this is like a new emerging artist. You know what I'm saying? And I've seen that more for like country. We were talking about this the other day, like, you know, I find myself like, the music I kind of like is I like almost every type of music, but I like the chill version of every type of music. So like, I go to like, Zach Bryan is like a go-to radio station for me that I can just kind of that I can throw in the background and like cook, drive, whatever.
He's a great example of like why the modern music industry kind of like works in some ways, is because like he posted like a song on Reddit and it went crazy and everybody's like, we got to get this guy a record deal. And I feel like the reason he's super successful is because people feel like they found him. You know what I mean? Like
he sings kind of what you were saying. There's a lot of like story like in his music, you know?
Yeah.
I like Zach Bryan. Even throughout all of his controversy that just happened to him, I was still like, oh, I'm a fan.
Yeah, I didn't get it at all. I'm like, I don't understand it. But I mean, I
have absolutely no take on any of it. I think that if you're going to date somebody that's called Brianna Chicken Fry, you should probably expect that they're going to be a little bit of a nightmare.
Yeah, who the fuck knows? But I mean, he's like, I don't know, his stuff definitely hits, and like the new, I guess, like alt country renaissance that's going on with like him and Sturgill Simpson. Sturgill Simpson's the baddest motherfucker on earth.
Yeah.
I love that guy. So great. And I don't know. I don't really have a take on the rap thing, but I'll say this. I feel like things are getting more niche, like interests are getting more specific, where it's not really like, okay, everyone's listening to the same band. There's like the mega bands. You still have like Taylor Swift and Zach Bryan. People's tastes are getting like more specific because of algorithms.
I actually think that has to do with what we were talking about with the recommended songs and artists.
100%.
Because now I'll go to a song that I like and I'll create a radio station based off of that song, which then puts me into an even deeper, more niche version of the original one that they recommended me. So it's like you're kind of just going down and down and down until you're listening to artists that have like 10,000 followers on Instagram.
Yeah. That is cool. When you look at the play count, you go, whoa.
How'd I find you? Yeah, you're sifting for gold.
And that person's stoked that you found them too. That person's so hyped that you found them in a Spotify rabbit hole.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. Wait, Dale, did you give us a time check?
Time check, we're at 151.
Okay.
But also they were not in the top 40 of the top 100.
Oh,
So
the rap songs.
In the top 40.
That's still though.
Since 1990.
It's crazy.
Okay, so there were no rap songs in the top 40 of the top 100, which is the first time that's been seen since 1990. That's pretty nuts.
It's insane.
Yeah.
I don't know why it's happening. I don't really have a take on what's going on, but I will say this. I think the fact that people are like listening to older stuff and like the fact that Graduation's the top stream rap record means that I think people are kind of, I don't know, this is the first time in a while where there hasn't been like a rap superstar.
Well,
you know?
also, I was watching this interview of Nelly, and he was talking about what it was like coming up in his day. And he's like, you were going against 50, against Jay-Z, against Ludacris, against all of these different styles of rap that when you listen to them put side by side, you really see the variation of it. And so rap, you used to have a lot of different genres almost within it.
Yeah.
And then, like, starting from...
Outkast.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Starting from when T-Pain. I mean, that was like a huge thing. But anyway, starting from when I hit college, I feel like everything just became like mumble rap in the sense of like, I don't even really know what they're saying, you know? And it was all it just became a very like almost watered down version of what rap once was because it all just sounded the same. You know, even like now when I listen to rap, I listen to early 2000s rap and rap from the 90s.
100%.
It was, and then Kanye, when Kanye was doing all the stuff with the Jews, I was like, please stop talking.
I love your stuff so much.
I love your stuff so
dude.
much.
Fuck.
I can't afford to take 50 of your songs out of my Spotify playlist, you know?
I mean, he's like, talking about like generational runs, like the Beatles went on and Pink Floyd, and it's like, yeah, he had one of the best 7-album runs ever.
Kanye?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, he is one of those. He's one of the few people that can be like, I'm a genius, and you're like, yeah.
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 You are.
Yeah,
Like, you're
yeah.
fucking brilliant.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. That's another thing that I can always just like go back to and be like, yeah, this will pretty much always be good. Like, there's not really a world in which I could imagine myself listening to my beautiful dark twisted fantasy and being like, this stinks. This is, you know.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I'm a big Kanye fan. All right. Tell me something that you find yourself like extremely interested in and or geeking out about. Just something that you could really go on and on about that.
Yeah, I've been like weirdly obsessed with like dirt and fungus over the last few years.
You left me a book on my counter, which I actually never said thank you for.
No
that was
problem.
very sweet. I didn't know if it was for me or for Spencer.
It's for you.
Yeah, and so that has to do with Topsoil and Fungus, correct? The
For
book
sure.
you left?
Yeah, so this like weird rabbit hole kind of happened. My worst grade in high school was chemistry, but I liked the teacher, and he would spend extra time with me. I just like couldn't get it. And one of the books that he recommended when I was in high school was called like Omnivore's Dilemma. And it's
Omnivore's Dilemma?
Omnivore's Dilemma, written by a guy named Michael Pollan. And so Michael Pollan sort of had a resurgence over the last like few years where he was on all these podcasts, and he had some big experiments into not drinking caffeine and what that would do to a person. And then he wrote books. He wrote a book called How to Change Your Mind about psychedelics, and started looking into all this stuff. And I went to my 10-year high school reunion, and I was like, hey, Mr. LaPlante, I'm like, thank you so much for that recommendation on Omnivore's Dilemma. I've been really getting into Michael Pollan. And he goes, great, what'd you think of the book? And I go, I didn't read it. And he goes, what? And I go, yeah, I didn't read it. He goes, you listened to all the Michael Pollan stuff, and you still didn't read the book. And I went, yeah. And he goes, all right. He goes, if you read it, email me. And so I read it, and it like completely blew my entire world open.
Is this the book that you left me?
So there's two of them. So this is the first one, and then the second one is written by a totally different guy, but combined they created this like weird worldview. This is basically it. The book is Michael Pollan goes out and tries to source a meal fully farm to table, where he gets all the ingredients directly from the person that grew it.
Was it a fried chicken sandwich?
It might have been.
I don't know if this is a different person, but I did see somebody that was like, I'm going to go completely source a meal. Sorry to not interrupt, but...
It's something exactly along those lines. So he started going in and trying to figure out, like, okay, can we get it like directly like from the earth? And he started to really like research into like different food systems and stuff, and just like how fucked up everything is, and regenerative agriculture. So you and I were having this conversation the other day where you told me about the orange trees.
Yeah.
What happened with the orange trees?
So the orange trees have been essentially infected by, it's called the Asian citruside, and it's a bug that infects citrus, so all of citrus. But here in America, we're really struggling with oranges because we have those primarily in Florida and then also in California. It's like a major part of the economy for those states.
Yeah.
And so the bug, once it infects the tree, it essentially suffocates it from the inside, and it takes 5 years for the tree to die, to even show signs of infection. So at this point, 100% of the Florida trees are infected. We are down 90% of output.
It's crazy.
Because it eventually kind of like, it'll give you a little bit of output until it doesn't at all. So I believe if you look at the year like 2003, we were producing like 219 million pounds of oranges a year. Now we're down to 12 million. So it's like, yeah.
Shit's fucked.
And they're working on either genetically modifying the plant itself, which they've not been able to come up with, and they also haven't been able to stop the bug. The bug thrives in warm climates.
And it thrives around oranges and stuff.
Yeah. Well, and Florida's like the perfect breeding ground of it, so it doesn't even naturally die off.
So this is like the one of the major points that he brought up is like we've gone to a really hardcore like monoculture farming system, agriculture system all over the globe. So like you have a region that grows corn and a region that grows soybeans and lettuce, and it creates this massive vulnerability where, because these things are close together, if you were like growing a small scale farm at home, you would have cabbage over here, and then you'd have lettuce over here, and then carrots here and potatoes here. And if you get a potato specific virus, you've got your potatoes, but there's a bunch of like other crops as a barrier around it.
Yeah.
So things don't spread. But then all of a sudden when you create these artificial systems where you're only growing oranges and it hits one orange tree, you're fucked because it spreads through everything.
Yeah.
So that's like a huge problem with it. And one of the answers that he presents is this idea of like regenerative agriculture, which is, okay, like cows like to eat grass. They naturally shit too, which creates fertilizer. So let's have them around these plants so that they're just, you know, chewing stuff on the ground and then naturally fertilizing the plants. And it breaks down into all these solutions. The regenerative agriculture concept, I'm genuinely not smart enough to explain exactly how it works. But I will say this was the part that blew my mind. I'm from Connecticut, and during the Ice Age, like a lot of the country is covered in glaciers, right?
Yeah.
And when the glaciers receded, they dumped 3 feet of the most perfect nutrient-dense soil in the world into the ground. And so it's 3 feet of topsoil that is perfect. Now, in my hometown, the soil is exactly right for growing tobacco. So if you smoke like a Romeo and Julieta cigar, it's Connecticut shade tobacco. It's the best in the world, and it's because the soil is so specific for that. In the center of the country, you have like this topsoil, and it's really great for growing like for growing corn, soybeans. And the way that the system used to work was like you would grow these crops, and they were really, really hard on the soil, right? Really like nutrient expensive. So after a few cycles, and this is what we do back home with the tobacco, you plant alfalfa. And the alfalfa kind of naturally regenerates the soil, puts the nitrogen back in, and you've got to be on this cycle. In the 1940s, this guy Fritz, who was a Jewish guy living in Germany, ended up fleeing the Nazi regime, but he came up with the idea of fertilizer, and it's amazing. It led to one of the biggest population bumps in human history because we were able to expand our output so much. But what happens is it's really hard on the soil. You don't need to plant that alfalfa anymore. You can grow the corn year after year after year, and every year it takes just a little bit of the soil, just a little bit, but it adds up. We
Yeah.
had 3 feet. We have 1.5 feet.
Yeah.
And once it goes, there's really no game plan. And in sort of like the, you know, year over year growth model that we have as a country, nobody's really stopping to be like, hey, what are we going to do in 40 years when this goes away? We're so fucked. So the soil, the composting, when I was back home for the pandemic, I started getting into like small scale farming. I started learning how to compost. And I got really like into fungus too. I read this book, Fantastic Fungi, like 3 years ago. And it's basically like Austin, Texas sits on a limestone plate, right? The reason limestone exists is because there was no fungus that had evolved to like eat the stuff on the bottom of the seafloor, so it just hardened and compressed into limestone. And then coal is that, but for trees, because back when the dinosaurs were here, the trees would just pile up on the ground because there was no fungus to eat it.
Yeah.
And so that turned into coal, and then like soft stuff turned into oil. And it just kind of like is like mind-blowing to me that all of this came from the fact that like fungus didn't exist. And
Interesting, because you would almost think that fungus would have been around since the start of time.
so there's all these different types of fungus, but the fungus that evolved to decompose things didn't evolve until after plant and animal life were on Earth. So if something just died, its
interesting, yeah.
corpse would just sit there and not rot.
Oh, weird.
Fucking weird, right?
Yeah.
It would just sit out in the sun. But yeah, I'm kind of obsessed with fungus because like it breaks things down so that the soil can actually like function.
Well, you told me an interesting fact about one of the farms out here. Was it Boggy Creek that
Yeah.
uses fungus beneath the topsoil, and they use it so it communicates with each other and sends the nutrients where it needs to go?
Yeah, exactly. There's like a really hardcore highway system underneath everything where plants and fungus have like a team relationship. So like the aspen trees all kind of work together using a fungal network, and it'll be like, this guy's sick, and then it'll like send nutrients to help this tree, and it'll go, okay, these guys are hungry, and they are able to send information and stuff. And it's really hard to even comprehend because the fungus can't think, and neither can the tree, but they found a way to work together and communicate using these fungal systems. And like agriculture crops do this naturally too. What happens is like when you run a machine in that tills it, it basically rips out the entire highway system, and there's no means for the plants to communicate with each other, and it's you're on your fucking own. You got to figure it out. So like the problem is it's so hard to do and it's so expensive right now. The stuff at Boggy Creek is like, it's not cheap.
No.
It'll be interesting to see if somebody can do it. I'm a beginner, I have no expert take on this answer, is I think like it would be really cool to see us do like trench composting at a massive scale. So we truly sort out like all of the food system. And like when you throw stuff away, if you throw something that's compostable away, it all goes into a system. We just bury it under the topsoil and turn it back into dirt.
I don't really know a lot about composting, what the benefits are, why you should do it. Do you know much about composting?
Yeah, so it's just a way to put like carbon and nitrogen back into the soil. So it like basically just takes the food and just turns it into dirt exactly through that like fungus that I was talking about.
Interesting.
Which is really dope, but like I don't know, like it makes sense, right? It's like you have all this food waste that just goes into a landfill, and it's like, no, this is like the stuff that's meant to be like re-enriching the soil.
Kind of like water that just kind of goes like, we have a finite amount of fresh water that goes through its system. It's like food. It's like it's all energy. You create, then you put back, etc.
Yeah.
Yeah, the fertilizer thing is interesting too, because I was also listening to a podcast the other day that mentioned like everything that's going on with like gasoline in the Middle East and whatnot, and the direct effect of oil and how that relates to fertilizer.
Yeah.
Are you familiar with this?
No, but you were telling me about this.
Is Dale, what is the relationship between oil and fertilizer? Because the point that I don't know exactly how they are connected, but what I heard was that essentially as oil goes up, it makes the price of fertilizer go up. And so, assuming that oil rates rise, fertilizer rises, the topsoil becomes less fertile, people start to get hungry, then we've got the same issue that we did 100 years ago before fertilizer of, hey, we can't feed everyone anymore.
Yeah.
People are starving.
Yeah, over 50% of synthetic nitrogen fertilizers are derived from fossil gas or coal, with natural gas providing the hydrogen needed for ammonia production, meaning high oil prices often lead directly to high fertilizer costs.
So, in summary, 50% of fertilizer comes from fossil fuels.
That's wild.
The nitrogen.
The nitrogen in fossil fuels.
Yeah.
Just
So like
artificially
what you're talking about, getting
synthesized.
the nitrogen back into the soil in the same way that we use all of like natural gas, coal goes into our synthetic fertilizer.
How do they do it? Do they just like do they use like the gas to pull it out of the air and put it into like
Not sure.
fertilizer? That's fucking crazy.
Yeah, but isn't that interesting too? So it's like with everything going on with like, the gas industry, people think immediately about like their cars or their stoves or whatever else, and it's like, yeah, and our food.
Yeah.
Unless we do something different, like you said, like going back to the traditional ways of like regenerating our soil with like alfalfa or composting or whatever else.
Yeah, the puzzle of like how to do it at scale is like so insane too, because it's like it would be so difficult. If you're like a soybean farmer and you just know, I just sell the soybeans back to the people that buy it, and you're like, no, all of a sudden we're growing everything. It's fucking tough.
What did Trump overturn today? It was or the Trump administration. It was something that protects our prairies, I believe. Also, I saw they overturned like the rights of grazing for bison. So we've been spending all of these years building back up the bison.
They got rid of it?
And they're no longer allowed to graze freely. We can fact check that as well.
Jesus.
When you look over like the bison massacres, that shit was fucked up.
Fucking insane, dude.
Yeah.
Yeah. But this is the one thing that I do kind of like love about Austin. I'm back on this kick of like I was kind of like, yeah, Austin sucks. It's too hot. It's a mess. I'm back on like the Austin is heavy underrated kick because I feel like it's just getting shit on so much. It fucking rules. One of my favorite Austin moments was I had just finished the book about just finished The Omnivore's Dilemma, and I'm like, I want to get into regenerative agriculture. And I sat in the Squatch Fitness sauna literally the day I finished the book, and I sat next to this guy, and I go, what do you do for a living? And he goes, oh, I'm a regenerative agriculture specialist. And I go, I fucking love this place. I love it. And yeah, this guy's amazing. We planted 1,000 fruit trees out by the airport, like with a bunch of people from Squatch.
You did?
Yeah, me and like 12 other people. It was awesome. It was truly like one of the best.
For the public or?
For there was a guy that owned Zoho that was like a Buddhist that wanted to get into like giving back to the earth. And so we were out there, I think it was like probably 20 of us. We planted 1,000 trees in a day. We were day drinking at 8 a.m. It was truly like some of the best times of my life. It was so amazing.
Wow.
And yeah, then went over to Boggy Creek and would like, I had to quit helping at Boggy Creek because it's so hard. It's so fucking hard. Digging out potatoes in the summer. You're like,
it's
fucking
hot.
A.
That's the thing. Like, I love Austin as a city. I think we live in a fantastic city. It is very hot here, but here's
So
the thing:
goddamn
if we
hot.
had perfect weather, the city would be overrun. So you gotta
Yeah.
keep up your barriers of
Take the good with the bad.
yeah.
What happened today was he overturned the Clean Air Act, revoking a couple of greenhouse gases to be categorized as dangerous to human health. So basically, like car companies, power plants, and other, like emissions-based industries don't have to regulate how much they put out of these specific 6 greenhouse gases that I won't show you.
Oh, fuck, that sounds great.
Yeah. So to summarize, he revoked the Clean Air Act, which essentially allows car companies, manufacturing plants to not have to categorize the emission.
Categorize and then therefore limit the greenhouse gases that they're emitting.
Okay, so not have to categorize, therefore they don't have to limit the greenhouse gases that they emit. Yeah, there's been not a lot of great shit done for the environment lately, and it's like, I don't know. I think that the emerging generation of political voices and voters are very concerned about the environment, and it does really suck to see stuff like that happen.
You know what I think is going to start happening too? I think people are going to start really like consciously not avoiding things that are like venture capital based and like publicly traded companies, and like consciously trying to shop at things that like have nothing to do with that. And then like, dude, I think people are just going to start, just because of the internet and AI, I feel like you're just going to be able to figure out exactly who's backing every candidate, and people are going to start running for the fucking hills.
Robin Williams said that politicians should wear who sponsors them on their jackets, just like NASCAR racers do.
That would kick ass, dude.
Massey from Kentucky.
The dog, dude. The
Yeah.
dog. I love Tommy Massey, dude.
So I was just listening to him talk about how hard it is for local farmers and ranchers to actually sell like their meat on site, which I actually noticed when I would go to farmers markets. I'm like, oh, can I just show up and buy from you directly? And they're like, no, because they have to go get it through, I think it's like the USDA. And it's like a very hard process to get done. So what he's trying to make it is so they can actually sell locally, but they would have to still follow community standards. But so it'd be easier for farmers to actually sell
I
their...
think they ran into this where there was like a project that Oracle was working on where they were trying to do vertical agriculture for lettuce.
Yeah, vertical agriculture apparently.
They had to like throw it all out.
Why?
Because they couldn't get anybody to buy it.
Oh, because that's like supposed to be like just growing up instead of out. So strawberries, lettuce, tomatoes, you just keep the vines going up. So you actually reduce space, which I guess would actually preserve
I'm
the
very
topsoil.
proud of your tomato plant, by the way. That thing's kicking ass,
Yeah, I have a
dude.
great
It's
tomato plant.
kicking ass and taking names.
Yeah.
It's a beautiful tomato
I
plant.
enjoyed a nice tomato cucumber salad the other day.
I mean, it's that's the number one vegetable for me, aside from maybe like raspberries, where you can tell the difference between the store and off the vine. Where
Oh,
the ones
yeah.
off the vine, you're like, oh my God, these are so good. Holy shit.
I love my little garden.
Kicking ass over
I
there.
love my little garden. Yeah, I've been definitely trying to shop more from like farmers markets, local farms whenever I can. It is. I would love to see that. I saw that they're trying to break up the meat industry, so I would love to be able to buy local meats because.
I got a
for
guy that
very
can get you a
obvious
quarter cow for sure.
I just need a deep freeze. That's the problem with living in
We
an
should get a
apartment.
community deep freezer. Just put it in
Yes.
we'll put it in Dean's room. It'd be
Yes.
great. I say all this and then I legitimately eat Taco Bell 3 days a week. So I'm a massive hypocrite and I listen to a lot of EDM, you know, so I'm like, who
Yeah.
knows what I'm even talking about.
Well, Joe, before we wrap up here, you got any questions for me?
Oh, dude, this is a fucking great question. Yeah,
This is a great question.
I liked it. This is good. Okay, so like I like what you're doing with the whole laugh higher thing. I think it's incredible. And I like what you wrote to Netflix to get everything on the map, you know?
Yeah.
To like talk about it. What do you think about the state of just like Austin stand up right now? Do you think we're in a good spot?
I'm very, very faithful, or I have a lot of faith in the Austin comedy scene. I think that from what I've observed, unless you're a big dog in these other scenes, there's a lot more stage time for developing comics here in Austin.
Exactly.
And I base that off of just pure conversations that I have with other people. Working comics around my year point, like I've been doing it for 5 years, where I talk to comedians about in my realm, and I'm going up 10 to 15 times a week, and I talk to people from other cities that are getting 2 to 4.
Yeah.
And that's average for them. And it's really hard to develop your stand-up without that much stage time. You know, we do have a very relaxed scene here, which I do think is really great to go and visit other places, to go to New York, to go to LA, and, you know, have to kind of bump it up a little bit on these lineups.
Yeah.
But in turn, it's like the reason that we are allowed to be a little bit more relaxed is because we do have such a good amount of stage time where some of these people are just forced to run their 10. You know, it's almost like you're constantly auditioning.
And you can't get better at doing that.
No, so I do think that, you know, there needs to be a little bit of the fire needs to always remain, you know, underneath this scene, and holding your friends accountable and wanting to challenge yourself and develop faster and stronger and be so undeniably funny. Critique that I had about Austin was that I wish that we had more, like, more seasoned comics that we could learn from and kind of have them put us to shame a little bit, you know? And somebody actually pointed out to me that the benefit of not having that here is when they do get here and they do like live and eat off your scene, not in comics that are big but touring, this is less of an issue with, but comics that have kind of finished touring and are hanging out, they eat up a lot of stage time. So part of the reason that we get as much stage time as we do is because we have such a developing scene. And so I do think that it is important to travel to other cities and experience that. I do have a lot of hope in Austin, and I think that the talent coming up here is undeniable. I think that other cities that hate on us, or other people in other cities that hate on us, haven't been here and experienced it themselves. We are not.
Or they just go to the mothership and then spend 2 or 3 days there and then leave
and
immediately. And they go,
I-
this place sucks. And you're like, you're on Dirty 6th Street and you're at one club.
Well,
So-
yeah, and I go up at the mothership, and I love the mothership and what it's provided for me. I don't love Dirty Six, that's for sure. But it's like, you know, but there's plenty of other great places in Austin that you could go. But even like, as somebody who does love and appreciate the mothership, it is not the reflection of the entire scene.
No.
And for people to say that the mothership and Kill Tony represents all of Austin, that's just wrong. You know, I don't look at New York and pick the 2 biggest podcasts and say that's what everybody falls underneath. We are a collective city of original and creative.
This one just.
Wow. That camera's still on?
Yeah.
That one?
What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the Joe Begley Show. Happy to be here. Come on in. What's up? Welcome to our podcast.
The camera overheated, but That was kind of the end of my rant. So.
This looks like a school picture day for us too, right?
And we look like
Be nice to your sister.
Okay. Well, thank you. That was our time.
Thank you guys for coming.
Here,
I was gonna ask you about your tomato plant, but we'll...
I'll have you back.
All right, let's do it. What made you get into the garden outside?
I love plants.
I love plants too. Fuck yeah. This was a blast. Thank you.
You're welcome.
That's crazy.
I feel like I nonstop yapped for a while there, so my bad on that. But
No, I want it to be something that you can non-stop run. Yeah, very.
hell yeah. Dude, you did a great job with the research and the questions. You found legitimately almost all of my favorite things.
Really?
Yeah.
Let's see, we are on time.
I could talk about music
Brandon's outside.
forever.
Okay, cool. So we'll let that camera kind of cool down a sec.
Yeah. Hey, what's your thing that you think you're nerding out on?
I have so many different, I had something to say about all of the topics that were brought up, you know? Brandon.
Alright. Dude.
One of the cameras
See,
are
buddy.
ready to
Yeah.
just gonna give it a second,
Fungus stuff
and
was
then
actually
grab
very
a little
interesting.
Love fungus.
Yeah, I'm actually.
Yo!
How are you? Love
Dude.
to hear about it.
I feel like I never see you because we're not doing the fucking podcast.
I was gone for the last 10 days too.
Oh, nice, dude.
Where
How
were
was
you
it?
at?
It was great. I went to a wedding and then I went to Batavia with Laser, which was very fun.
Nice, dude.
The club was so nice. They treated us like ridiculous. Like the lady